can all join palms and repeat after me. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Dharma. I take refuge in the Sangha. Keeping the palms joined. Put the palms down. All right, good evening, everybody. Nice to see you. Welcome back, dude. We missed you. How old are you now? 9. You're not 10 yet? Almost. When's your birthday? March 17th. Ooh, it's coming up. What are you going to do for your 10th birthday? Yeah. Are we all invited? We're all invited. Yeah. March 17th. And you live where? San Clemente, March 17th. We're all going. What time should we be there? 2 o'clock? Y'all in? Who's in? We'll get a big party bus, March 17th, 10th birthday. They will all bring gifts. What do you think? Do you want to stand up and invite them all to your birthday party? Go ahead. Come on. No? Trying to get you gifts. All right. March 17th. Save the date. Anyone here for the first time? Those of you here for the first time, what brings you here? I know, always point to somebody. Just got dragged along. Anything? What was said or promised or? Lots of interest. That sums it up. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, glad you're here. Yeah. Any expectations? I just wanted to know where the bar was at. You know? Yeah, there are seats. Come on up. Don't go to the back. Come on. Who else? First time here? Anybody? Those of you who keep showing up, plenty of seats. Why do you keep showing up? All jokes aside, why practice? Why show up?
Because I feel better.
Feel better? After?
In general, if I'm coming.
Yeah.
On a regular basis.
Nice. Thank you. What else? Why show up? Softening of tension. Yeah. What else?
I can sit and hear people's pain without judgment or evaluation. Just feel it for myself.
Is that different from what you're used to doing most of your life?
Different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. What else? Why show up?
I like to meditate with the shared energy of people who would like to live a bit more consciously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Absolutely.
Has helped me with fear and with the notion of pain.
Helped you with fear. How so? Has it helped you with fear?
Starting from the hope concept that you've been mentioning, and the struggles, the non-stop struggles of life, the non-high hopes whenever it's not needed.
Yeah.
And facing the things as they are.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a big lesson from here.
Yeah, definitely. Things as they are is a difficult one.
Yeah.
We tend to resist how things are because typically we go through our days, we don't always like how things are. And so we fight it. Yeah. Anyone else want to share why they're here before we start with meditation practice? We'll do one more. Yeah. Yeah. Welcome back. Good to see you. You weren't kidding. You made it. Did you just drive in?
I got here around 1.
How long was the drive?
7 hours.
7 hours. You available March 17th for the birthday party? It's another present. What's that? Another 7 hours. We're doing it. Right on. Glad you're here. Yeah. Anyone else want to share before we start? Yeah.
Build confidence in the commitment.
Mm-hmm. Commitment's hard, huh? I mean, committing to anything is difficult. Yeah. Plenty of seats up here if you need. Yeah. Staying disciplined with practice is difficult. It really is. But it's really critical. I mean, that's the statue, the Bodhisattva Samantabhadra represents great diligence. And it really is about just the continuous effort on this path and this practice, because life will continue every single day to throw challenges at you, struggles, difficulties, conflict, chaos, madness. And so that commitment, that continuous effort to practice can make things a little easier, you know? Yeah. All right, so we'll start with the meditation practice. To those who are joining virtually, welcome. Glad you're here. Feel free to say hello as you are. Somewhere on the chat box, your screen somewhere on your chat box. You know what I'm saying. A couple things to tell you before we begin. Nothing's going to happen to you. You're not going to float away. Not going to have any mystical, magical experiences. The mind that races all day long is not going to shut off. Don't judge your practice. I mean, you don't ask yourself, is this working or not working? Are you doing it right or wrong? We're just going to sit. We're going to breathe. You'll hear sounds inside the room, sounds outside. This is life. Life is filled with chaos, and this practice is learning to get quiet and still within all of the chaos. Posture, you just want to be comfortable. If you are on a cushion, often it helps slide into the front third. Pushing the stomach forward a little bit allows the back to straighten. If you're on a bench or chair, however you're seated, also just trying to sit up straight, relaxing the shoulders. Hands can be on the knees or lap. If you need to move, simply move. Movement doesn't make you a bad meditator, just means you need to move. If you need to cough, please just cough naturally. We don't need to listen to you hold it in for 3 minutes. It's easier to just cough naturally, get it done with. If anything, you just woke somebody up. If you're coughing because you're sick, then you can go home. But otherwise, just cough naturally. I'll guide us as we begin, and we'll settle into a little bit of silence. Most important, do not expect anything. Your mind will not shut off. It will not go blank. You will not think nothing. Starting with the eyes closed if comfortable, or slightly open. Mouth is open or closed. We'll start with taking 3 deep breaths slowly. And eventually, settle into a natural rhythm of the breath. Noticing the mind as it wanders, jumping from thought to thought. We'll start with gently guiding the attention, focus to the stomach or chest. Breathing in, feel them rise. Breathing out, feel them fall. Simply continue this practice, observing sensation of breath, expecting nothing but to sit and breathe. As the mind wanders, lost in thought, recognize it. Release that thought. Return attention, focus to the breath. Breathing in, follow breath in. Breathing out, follow breath out. Letting go of expectations, letting go of judgments from your practice, just sitting, breathing. And with the body still, rested, and the speech quiet, aware of all sounds, and the mind learning to settle. Know what it's like to just sit and breathe. Knowing with each breath, there's nothing else to do, nowhere else to go, and no one else to be. Everything beautiful, exactly as it is. Sitting, breathing. And once again, taking 3 deep breaths, slowly. And as you slowly open the eyes, slowly beginning to move, and most important, with the practice of meditation, is to recognize how you feel now, immediately after. Compare this to how you typically feel throughout your day. Recognize the difference, if there is one. Ask yourselves how you'd prefer to feel every day for the rest of your life. And realize every feel now, if it's quiet, calm, and still, or a busy mind, racing mind, whatever you're sitting with at this moment, it's not from anything I said. It's not from how we sit and hold the hands or cross the legs. It's not from the sounds around us or anything else for that matter. It's everything to do with your own mind and your own mind's reaction to an external condition. This is what the Buddha called pratitya samuppada, means dependent origination. This is the basis of the Buddha's awakening. The word Buddha simply means awakened. He was a human being, no different than any one of us, who began to understand why he suffered, why he got angry, sad, depressed, stressed, anxious. He began to understand the causal relationship of all phenomena. And what that means, very simply, for all of us, regardless of where you come from or what you believe in and where you think you're going, your whole life is filled with things that happen. You react. More stuff happens, more reactions. That's what we get. This practice is simply learning what it's like to respond to something quietly, peacefully, still. Because for most of us, the way you responded to the last 20 minutes is quite different from how you respond to every other 20-minute period of your day. And so all we're working on is closing the gap to where the way you feel now is closer to how you feel always. Just as driven, motivated, productive, successful, whatever that means to you in your respective lives. But with a mind that's steady, clear, focused, distracted by nothing, disturbed by no one. This is not an easy practice. It's not necessarily fun. It's not an escape, as often people think it is. It is direct perception into the present moment. And the present moment, as we all know, is filled with conflict, chaos, difficulties, challenges. The world's a mess. The world's been a mess for a long time and probably will be for quite some time. But it's definitely a mess now. But the question is, are we a mess? And that's this practice. It's not ignoring what's happening around us, but it's learning to be mindful and aware of what we think and what we say and what we do. So we engage as we engage in the world to make it a kinder, gentler place. We do it with love and compassion in our hearts and not hatred and anger. Meditation is free. Buddhist practice is free. It's just sitting, breathing, becoming aware of everything you think, everything you say, and everything you do, and the intention behind all of it. But like I said, it's difficult. So we continue to practice. Once we stop trying to change, fix, control, manipulate everything and everyone around us, and we work on changing our mind and our reactions to the world around us, then life gets a little simpler. And then as we engage in the world, we're very aware of the place we're coming from. So with that, I'll pause. For me, I always really prefer to respond to questions, meditation, Buddhist practice, anything you're sitting with. And we'll use the rest of our brief time this evening for questions. And again, to those who are joining virtually, glad you're here. Feel free to say hello. There's a chat box somewhere on your screen. If you have any questions, you can put them there. And I'll do my best to respond. So we'll open up to questions.
We were talking about a question on the way down.
Yeah.
And we have a two-part question.
Uh-oh. What do you got?
They're kind of related. We were bowling this weekend and we had plans to go barbecue at the beach afterwards, but we forgot the daylight savings this Sunday, and so we missed the sunset, and it was a change of plans.
Mm-hmm.
And it very much upset him and ruined his bowling experience. And so I was trying to tell him about the story of the two arrows. That's one. And two, during that, there was some unkind things said. And so they're talking about accountability. And in response to accountability, he received it as me wanting him to feel bad about himself because I was holding him accountable for behavior. And I know that's a tough lesson, even as an adult, to confront the things that we do without, confronting shame, knowing that we make mistakes, but we aren't mistakes, and understanding the difference. And I thought maybe it could be discussed in a way that you could hear.
Yes.
And on the way down here, there's a ton of traffic and immediate discomfort and just, let's go home. Like that was the immediate solution. Let's just, how can we get out of this? And you're talking after meditation, you always say the same thing, like it's direct perception into the present moment. And I think for him and I are alike in that, like, we are always in the present moment, so much so that we're like always reacting to the present moment too. So it's sometimes for us, zooming out and realizing like it's temporary and that discomfort isn't always bad.
Yeah. So a lot of things going on there. And as I said, I think last time when he was here that, we're all just big 9-year-olds in many ways. We're all big kids in here still trying to figure it out. But I think the first thing to comment on the teaching around the second arrow is that, as the Buddha taught, I talked a little bit about this on Saturday, but that, when something happens to us or around us and it affects us, say we get sad. And so the practice of the second arrow is to just be with the sadness, or say you got angry at something, right? So for example, you missed the sunset. Okay, so you just missed the sunset, and that's it. That's the first arrow. It hurt. But then when we carry that arrow into everything else and it becomes a second arrow and a third arrow, now we're angry because we missed the sunset. Now when we're bowling, we're still angry because we missed the sunset. And now we're sad because we're not having fun bowling. So now we're angry and we're sad because we missed the sunset and we're bowling and we're still angry. So we're sad. Then we get depressed because we were angry, because we were sad, because we were depressed. And then we get anxious because we can't come out of this anger and sadness and depression. So from the first arrow, which is you just missed the sunset, next thing you know, you got all these emotions that are hurting. That makes sense? Yeah. So would you rather be angry, sad, anxious, depressed, and pissed off? Which one? Just angry, or angry, sad, depressed, stressed, and pissed off? Just angry. So next time you get angry, just be angry. It's not like pizza where you get one pizza and then you want more and more and more, right? When you have that one emotion that arises, just be with that one emotion. Because what we learn from this practice is that the teaching of impermanence, which is when you get angry, does that anger stay forever? No, it'll go away, right? So since you know it's going to go away, the danger is when we have that anger and we turn it into more negative emotions, right? Sadness, depression, stress, whatever it might be. Then how do we act when we're angry? When you're angry, do you do smart things or dumb things? Dumb things. Yeah, I wish you could see the smile on his face. It's just priceless. I really just wish I could teach this stuff to a bunch of 9-year-olds. It's a lot easier, I know you are. I just didn't want to say it. So the anger will go away, right? But if we're angry and we act on that anger and we do dumb things, then we get more problems. And then you got more arrows to deal with. And now you've also made somebody else upset with you, right? But does that make sense? Then it comes to the second part. So when somebody is maybe disappointed in what you've done or upset at what you did, and they're trying to help you, right? Them trying to help you doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Turn around and look at all these old people in the room. Do you see all them? Do you know why they're all here? Because they've all done a lot of really dumb things. Right? And I'm sitting up here trying to tell them, stop doing dumb things. And they keep showing up. Right? I mean, some of them eventually just give up, but they keep showing up. Right? So what that means is when we're not doing things so well, it helps to have somebody tell us how to do things that can help us throughout our life. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. But how else are we supposed to learn? Right? Do you know everything there is to know in the world as a 9-year-old? No? That doesn't come until you're 10, right? When you turn 10, you're going to understand all of this. So you only, 2 more weeks, you won't even need to come here anymore, right? So I think all of us get the message. When we get angry, recognize the anger. And that's when I always talk about sit with it. I mean, for me, and you've heard me talk about this, but I've talked about this a lot. I grew up so angry. And one of the most important pieces of this practice was learning to just sit with that anger. It doesn't mean it feels good. It doesn't mean it's pleasant. It's not. It sucks. It's miserable. But just be with it because it will in time change. And the simple just knowledge that anger can go away, simply knowing that it will go away, does help a little bit. Maybe it goes away in an hour, maybe it goes in a week, away in a week. But that emotion, whatever it is, will pass. So Yeah, so impermanence, the second arrow, just be angry. It'll pass. And don't do dumb stuff. Because here's the thing, last thing I'll say on this, which we all know, when we carry anger and frustration in new situation, did you have fun bowling because you were all angry because you missed the sunset? No. Do you normally have fun bowling? Yeah. So you missed the sunset and you missed bowling. That kind of sucks. You could have missed the sunset and enjoyed bowling. Wouldn't that have been better? Yeah. So next time you miss the sunset, which is going to happen, you're going to miss another sunset in your life. I hate to break it to you. When that happens, still have fun bowling. And then you'll feel better. All right? Yeah. You got that, Ross?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should have led with that.
Yeah. What else we got? Questions? Yeah.
That's so cool.
Wait, say again. Sorry.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, my name's Hannah.
Yeah, hi, Hannah.
One thing I've been thinking about this week a lot is like in regards to work
Mm,
and trying to be not attached to good outcomes
Mm.
of the work that I do. It's something that I like really struggle with because I want to like be good at my job.
yeah.
And sometimes I can put a lot, like too much of myself into that. And so I just struggle to know what the balance is like between like wanting to like do, to like put forth good effort for the work that I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
but also to not lose myself in whatever the outcome is.
Yeah. So just to paraphrase for those at home who maybe didn't hear it, the question is around work and at work, really kind of expecting yourself and wanting to do really well. And so very much so attached to the outcome, and that your intention is to work hard, but you're still really kind of tied to the outcome of it. Yeah. Is that fair to say? Yeah. So this directly ties to Buddhist teachings on non-attachment, but let me first start with a question for you. Which, well, I'll just start with the question is, why do you want to do good at your job? Why do you want to do well?
I think it gives me a sense of fulfillment.
A sense of fulfillment. Okay. Any other reasons?
Yeah, I think it's like it in my head, I think I can, it makes me work.
Okay. Okay. We're getting closer to where I was trying to go with this. Because I almost I was going to ask you a question, then I was actually going to answer the question for you before I even asked it, which is really stupid. So I wanted to kind of play this out. But how much potentially, again, not for you necessarily, but I'm probably somebody in this room, at least one person, how much of you wanting to do well at your job has to do with also others' perception of how well you're doing at your job? Oh, yeah, totally. Okay. So more than I was actually, based on your answer, it was a lot more than I was expecting, right? Because that to me was the first thing that was going off in my head, which I hear this a lot, is so much of our, and you mentioned kind of this, I forget your exact word, but kind of this self-worth, right? Like feeling like you're doing a good job. So much of that very often is tied in the view that we have and want this kind of how important it is that others view us a certain way. And that very much plays into the minds of many of the things we do, right? So a couple of things here. And again, this is just in general and, maybe specifically for you as well. But part of, I think, my response is actually in what you said, which is your effort is there, right? The intention is there. And so that's the first step. But regardless of how well you do at your job, for the most part, I get how sometimes stress and pressure maybe motivates us a little bit. But for the most part, your attachment to how you view yourself or how others view yourself, does that have any bearing on how well you do your job? Or is your job just based on your intention and how hard you work? Which one? Just on how hard you work, right? So what we're really looking at is this in Buddhist practice, we have this right view, right? Starts with the Eightfold Path. And so what we're really looking at is you have this view that you're really worried about what other people think of you, potentially. Again, I don't want to make accusations, but is that somewhat fair to say? Yeah. Why? Is it not enough to just work hard and leave it at that? Why do we care? I shared this the other day, but a couple years ago, one of the college kids said, he was sharing a story, and he said, I'm really worried that when I speak, people are judging me. And my response to him was, you don't have to worry about that. They are judging you, right? We are constantly being judged. But the real question to ask ourselves, and I don't have this answer for you, and it's different for everybody, right? But why are we so worried about what other people think of us? And so I think when I look at it from a Buddhist lens, it has to do with the fact that my intention, my focus, my effort is what I can control. What other people and how other people perceive me as an individual, or the work that I do, or anything like that, that's up to them. There are going to be people that love you and what you do. And there's going to be people that really don't like you and think you do a terrible job, right? Do those opinions ultimately have any bearing on who you are as a person? No. Just work hard. The Bodhisattva practice, Bodhi means enlightened, Sattva is being, but the Bodhisattva practice is all around non-attachment and this practice of generosity, of giving. And the idea is that you're not attached to the gift, the giver, or the receiver. And this really, even though this is a little bit different, I feel like even in effort with work or anything, work, school, whatever we're doing in our lives, that if we just focus on what we're putting into it, what we're giving, what we're doing, and not attach to the outcome, it's a healthier way to live. Because when we attach to the outcome, we're often trying to do what? Control. Anyone in this room like to try to control people and places and things? I see a lot of smiles and head nods, right? That's where we're at. And so I think a lot of this also ties into that, is this effort to try to control other people's perceptions of you, and I think being very genuine and true and authentic to ourselves is a wonderful gift we can give ourselves and into the world, and also one that's really difficult to do. But some people are going to love you and some are going to hate you. It's just the way it goes. As I always say, it's their mess, not yours. I don't know if that helps at all, but stuff to think about. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
In different places today, I've spent a lot of fear. What's going on?
Yeah.
With the war and how that might come to our San Diego.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what to do with that. All day long, I help other people.
Yeah.
I feel like I kind of need to have my head and heart in a better space, so I can't be as focused.
Sure. Yeah, I often say this jokingly, but really seriously. I say half the people who come here are therapists. The other half are in therapy, and half of the therapists are also in therapy, right? Like we're all just, so I said this actually the other night, so many people who draw to meditation, Buddhist practice, any sort of spiritual path, in my observation, opinion, view, tend to be some of the most loving, caring, giving, wonderful people. And because of that, again, this is just my view, there tends to be this like very genuine, sensitive heart that has a lot of empathy and feels the pain and suffering. I mean, the Bodhisattva Kuan Yin, the large statue behind me, her name literally means hearer of the world's cries. So she hears all the suffering in the world and then pours out compassion to heal. So much so that there was a time that she completely, it's a story, she completely exploded. So the corner tanka back there, the art piece on the wall in the back corner there, the fifth one on the wall, is a 1,000-armed Kuan Yin. She was pouring out so much compassion that she exploded. And so they put her back together, isn't that nice? With 1,000 arms and 11 heads. So she could continue to aid and heal and help in all directions. So when you added that last piece about how you help people all day long, but how do you deal with that? I thought of this Kuan Yin who just was pouring out so much compassion that she blew up. And so first and foremost, just kind of this common sense teaching, which is, like the oxygen mask on the airplane. And that's probably why you're here. And that's what leads to a lot of people here. You got to put it on yourself first. But then the question, coming back to the specifics of what you're talking about, as I alluded to earlier, yes, the world's a mess. Always has been, always will be, is probably more so now than it's been in quite a while. And these things that we're sitting with are happening. So even though in Buddhism we talk about, everything being an illusion and, the emptiness and everything's beautiful, that doesn't mean we don't experience tremendous pain and suffering and trauma throughout our lives. We do. And that is happening and that is real. And so I think it's actually something I was going to say earlier to Hannah's question in the back there about finding a balance. And maybe this is part of that balance. But if you're giving all day long, what, not to answer this question, but what else? Again, coming back to generosity, the Four Noble Truths. The first thing the Buddha said is life is filled with suffering. Doesn't mean all of life sucks. It means we're going to experience, discomfort, angst, dissatisfaction, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain in our lives. Second thing he said, second noble truth is the cause of suffering: greed, anger, and ignorance. Greed, really craving, desire. And so the question is, how do we overcome greed, anger, ignorance? And he said, with generosity, compassion, wisdom. You're suffering. You're experiencing it. You're feeling it. How do you give yourself generosity? How do you give yourself compassion? And so, again, not to answer now, but to begin to explore each day, what can you do that will bring yourself a little more joy, a little more happiness? If it means, if you're watching the news 4 hours a day, cut it down to 2. I'm just throwing out random ideas. My guess isn't 2 hours a day. You probably are going to know what's going on. If 2 hours is too much, an hour. The balance, the middle path. The conversations we have. Again, this practice is not about sitting in places of privilege, not an accusation. I'm just saying in a place of privilege and ignoring what's happening. Yes, we're in San Diego. This is a big risk. Very much so. That is really happening. And so the question is, how can we take care of ourselves? Which is going to be different for everybody. The things we talk about, the things we look at all day long, the conversations we have, the people we spend time with, making sure that you are doing things to protect yourself and keep yourself healthy. And as you said, while you are being there for other people, and my guess is you're there for other people because other people need you. But you need you also. And the Buddhist teachings on non-self doesn't mean we don't exist. It means we exist very differently from how we perceive ourselves. And right now, what I'm hearing is you're perceiving yourself in a way that you're just burning out. And then you're of no use to anyone. Find joy every day, even in the midst of crazy times, the way the world is right now. It doesn't mean you still can't find joy and happiness each day. Yeah. What else? Yeah.
So, life sucks. We get that clear, yeah.
Yes.
So suffering, everything's, the way it is. Non-attachment and, letting things go and like sitting with that one feeling so it doesn't get to 5, 6, 7, 8.
Mm-hmm.
All that said, I feel like, life versus those noble truths, it's black and white.
Mm-hmm.
And in like our experiences, there's so much gray area. I guess my question is, like, navigating that gray area, like what Okay, specifically, like in San Diego, my experience here is, so much community. This is the one place, like, in my world. Sorry, guys.
Right.
The one place in my world that I feel safe. So with everything going on in the world, there's things that are out of our control. And there's choices that we are, they're out of our hands. So when it comes to all that gray area, you can't control things. You understand, it's not going to last. But finding the joy, finding those little sparks. What, in your opinion, do you think would help with that? Like finding the joy.
Yeah, I mean, I try never to answer or respond to things personally. But this may be a little more personal, not too personal, because obviously I don't know details. But I know that you drove 7 hours to be here today because you simply wanted to be here today and go to the farmer's market tomorrow. Like that was the most important thing to you in these 48 hours. And if you have been in places that are unhealthy and unsafe and toxic and dangerous for you, those aren't gray areas. Those are pretty clear messages. Your mind may, our minds are fucked up. You've heard that word before, right? I said it quietly, You do earmuffs? You're like the youngest, dude. How many brothers do you have? How many siblings, older siblings?
6.
All right. And you're the youngest, right? Yes, you've heard enough. All right. What I'm hearing you say, based on the tiny bit that I know, it's almost like, the one of the names of the Buddha was Tathagata. It means suchness, things as they are. And even coming back to the second noble truth, greed, anger, ignorance. Ignorance, the third cause of suffering, doesn't mean we're dumb or anything like that. It means we're ignoring reality, in the way I perceive it. And so the way we overcome ignorance is with wisdom. And the practice of wisdom is to see things as they are, Tathagata, suchness, things as they are. Now, when we see things as they are, we then start to create stories. I know this better, as well as anyone. My head is a mess, right? And I create so many stories that can destroy me in an instant, right? That is not reality. That is ignorance. That is lost in delusion. That is the hell realm all in our head. Reality is you've been recently in places that are really unhealthy, unsafe, and toxic for you. That's it. No gray area. Wisdom says, what I'm hearing you say is, how do you kind of maybe fix that, change that, control that, manipulate that, make it okay? Yet you've been a mess. I shouldn't assume that. I'm just kind of guessing.
No, you're right.
Okay. I hate to call people a mess if they haven't been a mess, so my apologies. That's how it is. So, San Diego's a good place. It's expensive as hell, but it's a good place, things as they are. And when you return to whatever environments that you're in or going to, that triple gem that we take refuge in at the beginning, the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, the community it's the triple gem. It's not just the Buddha, the awakened being within all of us. It's not just the teachings. It is the community. Without that community to motivate, inspire, challenge, question, support, You're on your own. That's why the Buddha put a Sangha together, so they could practice together and be in community. Now, if we are living places where we don't find a safe, healthy community, that will destroy us if we're someone who really needs a safe, healthy community. You know, I'm a believer that most places have relatively safe, healthy communities, but not all. And some of them, no matter how hard we try, because of stories we carry in there or places we've been, they're never safe. You know, so it sounds like you need a support system and a network, and, you know, people to be around that make you feel okay. Yeah. So, all right, anything else before we close? We'll do one more if anybody wants, and then we'll close. Yeah.
Mine is rather large, however, maybe not. Forgiveness.
You can ask it. I don't know if I'll answer it, but yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
The concept of forgiveness.
Yeah.
I seem to remember, and it could be completely wrong, that perhaps that is more of a Western thing, that you give someone forgiveness, and they might not even think they need to be forgiven. So the mistake is that you feel you're granting them forgiveness, and they feel like they didn't even ask for it, and they don't see why you're doing it anyway. Want to know what the thoughts are of the concept in general.
So my, you know, when I look at what I was taught around forgiveness with Buddhist teachings, is that Venerable Yizhur, my teacher, and she learned it from Master Xingyun, her teacher, said three things around forgiveness. That because even in the way you asked it, it was really, I heard a lot about others. But what I was taught kind of from this Buddhist lens was when you do things that require forgiveness, first is to recognize that what you did was not in line with any of this practice in these teachings, right? Loving kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity, generosity, morality, patience, diligence, concentration, wisdom, any of these fundamental core teachings, right? That when we do things that require forgiveness, we were not in that place. We were acting out of greed, anger, ignorance, whatever it might be, right? We were in a place that caused tremendous harm, pain, suffering to someone. And so to acknowledge that. The second thing is to apologize. If it's relevant to that person, sorry, not relevant, if it's appropriate to that person, meaning, and I always use this example every time I talk about this, but like, you know, if you broke somebody's heart 30 years ago and all of a sudden you've had some grand Buddhist awakening, you know, after like 3 months, and you're like, oh, I feel really bad what I did that person 30 years ago, they probably don't want to hear from you. They probably have moved on. They probably are whatever, living their life. And just because you're all Buddhist, not you, but just because you found some, you know, love in your heart, whatever, apologize to somebody else, meaning turn to a friend, family member, loved one, whoever it might be, and genuinely apologize, like really own what you did. And I've done this. It's really wild when you turn to just a friend and say, you know, I'm really sorry for what I did to that person 30 years ago. And like you experience it, you feel it, you know, like emotionally you feel it. And then the third piece is to vow to not do it again.
It's not so much that
I understand. I heard your question. You've been around me like 15 years. I never answer questions directly, right? I understand. But asking for forgiveness, it's not about the other person. What I hear in your question is that very much tied up in what the other person thinks about you forgiving them. Is that what your question is?
No, it's just the concept of forgiveness in general. It's rather, you're kind of making it seem like I did something.
No, I'm not even talking to you, Chris. I never talk to people directly. I'm not attacking you. What I'm saying is that forgiveness, we offer forgiveness for our hearts. I can't control what somebody else says or does or thinks or whether they accept my forgiveness or not. If I have done something that harms someone and I genuinely, authentically apologize, whether they forgive me or not, that's on them. That is up to them. I'm doing it because I don't want to carry the anger and hatred in my heart. That is all I can ever control. And that's hard enough. Again, however you kind of put it, what I'm hearing in your question has a lot to do with the other person's response. And nothing in this practice is about that. Yes, we impact other people. I mean, law of cause and effect, karma, we have a huge impact on others. But what other people think and feel is what other people think and feel. So it goes back to the generosity, no gift, no giver, no receiver. You're offering forgiveness to somebody. Anyone here offered forgiveness and like people forgave you? And they offered forgiveness and they hate you even more? So that's on them, man. You know, and I don't mean that like in a dismissive way, but somebody, again, Saturday, somebody asked that, like, you know, the person didn't think what they did was wrong, you know, but I'm going to close on that. We'll join palms. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to all beings in all directions. May all beings be at peace. May all be free from suffering. All right, before y'all head out, our Dharma Bum host, Milena, has some announcements for us.
Host Milena. We opened the Dharma Bum Temple 19 years ago to introduce Buddhist practice to those who show up. Those who lead are not nuns, monks, gurus, or teachers and are not looking for students. They are simply practitioners sharing their interpretation of the practice. Every night we have different classes led by different people from various Buddhist traditions. We have a recovery sangha that meets several times a week for anyone with addiction, and our food or redistribution program is every Thursday at 4:30 p.m. We have classes and programs every day, and everything we offer here is always free. We have a silent meditation Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 12 p.m. And then Saturday we have our half day of silence starting at 8 a.m. The full schedule is on our website and also posted in the entryway above the shoe rack. We have a lending library. If you see a book you like, feel free to borrow it and then bring it back whenever you are done with it. Please straighten your seat or cushion before you head out. If a few people could stay to close and latch the windows, that would be helpful. Thank you for being here. We wish you well. I hope to see you all again.
Thanks, Milena.
March 17th.